Okay, so welcome to the room, everyone. So this is not going to be a blind playthrough. So I played through this game several times during these pandemic years, um, and found myself sort of keep returning to it basically. And I feel like I know it well enough. That we can say and do some fun stuff here. So we'll just start the game off. Right, so here we are waking up in the room for the first time, and you'll notice that the graphics, I guess, leave something to be desired, especially after Silent Hill 3, which and here we have Wilhelm screams, um, but it's exactly the sort of thing you want to wake up to. So step out into the corridor. And what's really cool about this starting section is that it gives you a really good um, first look, I guess, at how the game is going to turn out. But also, there's some subtle hints about the protagonist or the character that you're currently playing as. So they're making their way through this apartment. The baby made lots of friends at the wish house, and everyone was very nice to him. The baby was happy. So this room, is this really my room? It's in terrible shape. The air is so heavy, my head hurts. I'm going to look at this. Look at this charming thing on the wall. Looks like a face. So I don't want to linger for too long in each section of the game. I just want to try and get to all the interesting bits. Something that Team Silent never lost the knack for over all four of the games that they developed was that really terrifying animation that their monsters, I think, it first appeared in Silent Hill 2's nurses with this sort of exaggerated, really sped up movements. And they carried that through um, all the way through to this game. But you might also, if you've ever watched any footage of PT, um, where the player gets to see Lisa, the ghost, for any prolonged period of time, that she moves in exactly the same way as that ghost just stood there. And PT itself is based quite a lot on the concept of this game. So condensing everything down into this really small play space, but trying to maximize the amount of fear that we get out of it. Obviously, Silent Hill 4 much longer and attempts to do slightly different things. So the space at the very beginning of the game, as we'll see here, we'll just let our good friend Henry here have a think.
Oh man, what a dream.
So yeah, he's gonna try to pick up the phone, call someone. So the starting bit does have quite a few cutscenes, and I don't want to let you see those, especially if you haven't played or watched this game before, because there are some really good and important moments in these cutscenes. Traditional spooky stuff,
Hello? What?
and of course the phone is disconnected. That's just what we like to see.
Cord's cut.
So as I was saying before, the you can see now that the room is much nicer than it was before. It's not completely covered in blood and rust and all that other lovely Silent Hill grunge. Um, but what this sort of opening section of the game really encourages you to do is to sort of inhabit the space, and really sort of get to know the character, because there aren't many opportunities to get to know Henry, our protagonist. So you figure out from these that he's saying it's just a quick shot. I took them downtown Silent Hill. It's a nice tourist town, about a half day's drive from here. So what is immediately happening is we're sort of getting our character set up, and yes, some more important setup going on here. So an impatient woman waiting for the subway. Um, so what we'll already notice, is that Henry is very he's very dependent on this sort of examining all of these items, and gleaning more information from them, as well as looking out the window. And this the room is all about this voyeurism, basically. And we can see already that we can determine already that Henry is a photographer. And in fact, for a game called Silent Hill, we're not actually in Silent Hill. So we'll see if we can. So we can't open the window. So we're stuck in the apartment. So we're not in Silent Hill. We're in South Ashfield, I think. Yes, Hotel South Ashfield, which is quite a drastic setting change. Um, so it's sort of showing that Silent Hill maybe is growing beyond its bounds. So right here now for a minute. Oh, nice lovely living room. And this is our item chest. So we're going to be coming back here a lot because this game, unlike other Silent Hill titles, I think every other Silent Hill title has a limited inventory space, and that is quite a jarring change. It's meant to make you a bit more reliant on the room itself. So you're going to keep coming back here, and you're going to keep feeding uh, this chest all the items that you don't need because Henry does not know how to stack bullets. So we're going to read some notes here. 5 days ago, that's when I first had the nightmare. I haven't been able to get out of my room since then. The phone doesn't work, the TV doesn't work. I can't even get anybody to hear me when I yell. My whole world has suddenly turned insane. My door's chained up, the windows are sealed shut. And on top of that, someone chained the door from the inside. How am I going to get out of here? Iconic. Iconic.
What the hell? on here?
Some stuff going on outside. And that's our neighbour, Eileen.
Oh man. Hope my luck changes before the party.
Off she goes. And you'll notice she didn't really seem that interested in what was on the wall there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We have all of those hands there on the wall, and we're going to keep an eye on those as we keep playing, because you feel like someone should have noticed that. Oh. What was that? What was that indeed? Okay. Oops, didn't mean to go in here. That's the laundry. So I'm going to just read a couple of notes here. What's this? Mum, why don't you wake up? So already, Silent Hill is doing the very traditional thing of just being really cryptic and really creepy, which is exactly what I love to see. Okay. Apologies as well if the mic is picking up any extra background noise or anything. So it looks like a scrap from some book. Man, this thing looks like it was written ages ago. Through the ritual of the Holy Assumption, he built a world. It exists in a space separate from the world of our Lord. More accurately, it is within, yet without the Lord's world. Unlike the world of our Lord, it is a world in extreme flux. Unexpected doors or walls, moving floors, odd creatures, a world only he can control. Anyone swallowed up by that world will live there for eternity, undying. They will haunt that realm as a spirit. And this part of the book is too damaged to read. It is important to travel lightly in that world. He who carries too heavy a burden will regret it. All right. Filling up our scrapbook already. We're just going to save here. And I know I have way too many saves, so we're gonna save in 23. So you can see I've played this game a lot already, and this is on the PC version, obviously. But the PC version has a few things that the PlayStation 2 version doesn't have. Or sorry, the PS2 version has things that the PC doesn't have. Sorry, but I'll talk about that when we sort of start to encounter those things. Okay, so he's just going to investigate this hole. You'll see that the usual Akira Yamaoka sound design is really good. So of course, going to want the steel pipe, and then we're going to go in the hole because why not? So Henry's spent a few days in here already, I think. So he is starting to go a little bit stir crazy. So we're going to crawl in here, which can only be a good thing, right? Can only be a good thing. So this is the only time the sequence plays out in full during the whole game. The rest of the time, it just functions as a loading screen, which sort of whooshes you straight through. But this time, we're really getting this feeling of sort of intense claustrophobia, and you yourself. So I'm moving that. It's not a cutscene. So we're getting a real sense of, oh my goodness, why did I crawl in this hole in the first place? And you sort of this is quite a long crawl. Like it's sort of, I guess it sort of acts as maybe a miniature version of the walk in Silent Hill 2 that you take from the landing platform through the forest until you find your first monster. So we're going to go in here. Because of course we are. Go into the light. All right. I got to confess something. I really, really hate this part of the game. I've played this game through, I think 4 times, maybe 4.5. I haven't got all the endings, but I've played it through a few times, and I'm never good at this bit, precisely because the map is so terribly laid out. Hey, So it really is just this really maze-like section of the game, and it's not.
This is my dream, and you don't even know my name. It's Cynthia.
Your dream.
That's right. This is just a dream. And a really terrible one, too. I hope I wake up soon.
So you think this is a dream, huh?
Well, if it's not a dream, what is it? Anyway, I want to get out of here, but I can't find the exit. Say, will you help me find it? I'm kind of scared all alone. I'll do a special favor for you.
Did the internet cut out there? That's frustrating.
It's just a dream, so I might as well have some fun.
Okay. Well, we're going to carry on, despite the fact it says I have no viewers, but that's okay. So we're going to go down here, and as I was saying, I'm going to swing. So we can swing the pipe. So he's not like all the other Silent Hill protagonists. He is not any kind of fighter. So you'll notice it's not exactly a quick attack. So we'll just move forward a bit, trigger this next cutscene.
Wait a minute. I think I'm gonna puke.
Sorry, yeah. Can anyone in chat just confirm whether I just cut out or not? Did I have just a drop in internet then or something? Is that what happened? So she's gone into the bathroom here because she felt like she was going to be sick, and then of course this lovely thing. So Silent Hill loves its dog enemies. I think there's a dog enemy. These dog enemies are particularly gross, though. I think there's a dog enemy in every game, except for the second one. So that's charming. All right, thanks. Strange, quite annoying it would cut out. So we're just gonna go check if everything's okay in the bathrooms. Okay, we'll find in here. Alrighty. So what's really interesting about those enemies is I was an idiot and aggroed them. But in fact, you don't have to aggro those enemies. Let me go through here. We go back to the room. So those dog enemies only respond to you if you get too close, like I did. So I literally ran into one of them, or if you start running by them, which I think is actually a really cool AI feature. And if you do kill an enemy in the same area that they're in, they will go over and they will start eating the enemy, like we just saw in the cutscene. So Henry's waking up back here.
Another dream. But it seems so real. Or could it be? Was I really inside that woman's dream? Ah, that's just stupid. What am I thinking?
Okay. So exactly back to where we were before. So we're back in the apartment. I'm going to go back out here. I'm just going to have a wee look around. You might notice something is very, very slightly different. But you start to notice things like this tend to happen in the room. So I'm going to go over here. So someone's moved the furniture. Oh, that's weird. Somebody moved it. I'll straighten it up. And then, of course, there's this lovely hole in the wall here, and this gun. I'll take the gun. Okay. So that's one of only 2 guns that you can get in this one. So as usual, really just heartwarming sounds that just encourage you to check out what's going on. So Henry, being the person he is going to be really creepy.
Where did I put that damn broom? Oh, there it is.
I think we'll all agree, feeling uncomfortable. Okay. Now the phone's going to ring. I'm going to answer the phone.
Where did you go? Hurry! Save me! If you need a token, there's one here.
Cool. Okay, so it's a familiar voice. So we're gonna go back in the hole. Let's see now. Yep, it's just turned into a loading screen. It's gonna push us through. We're gonna emerge back here, and this is decidedly creepy. Some kind of mannequin, he thinks. It's got a coin in its hand. Okay, so now we got the coin. If that was me, I don't know if I'd call that a mannequin. It looks eerily familiar to the woman you just met. But okay, you know, just take the coin and just leave. That's fine. Okay, so I think these enemies might remain aggro, but I should just be able to carefully walk around them. And you'll see, yep, they don't chase me this time. I think there's another one in here, another couple in here. There might be a just gently skirt around them. Which coin? I think it's this side. Oh, yeah, here we are. Oh, come on, Henry. Sorry. Of course he can't be facing the coin box when he wants to use it. Okay. So we're just going to leave behind all those creepy noises. And this is going to be our first proper encounter with this new ghost type enemy. So this is a new enemy developed for Silent Hill 4, so they've never appeared in any others. But they take the function basically of the implacable man, of the sort of pyramid head kind of character. Because they cannot be killed, and they will follow, and even worse than Pyramid Head, they will follow you from room to room. So, nice vending machine there with a mysterious symbol on it. This is part of the level I really don't like. Apologies if I'm running around trying to find exactly where I need to go. So the woman Cynthia should be here. Yep. But we need to unlock the doors, so I'm going to go down and unlock those. And our friend the ghost is back. So we're going to run just in here. So you notice that the camera angle changes in certain important areas. Sometimes it makes you think that there's an important thing going on when there's really not. Okay, just going to Get into the right hitbox for that button. And we're going to run back down past this ghost. Okay, here she is. So we're going to find a way through the train cars now, which I don't really like doing. So despite my love for Silent Hill sound design, Silent Hill 4 probably has the weakest sound design, or definitely has the weakest sound design out of the original 4. You'll notice that the footsteps sound exactly the same and sound really annoying. Even so, the sounds the ghosts make are really creepy. But you still sort of, I don't know, like the squishy sound. It just it just annoys me. It doesn't scare me, you know. There's a lockbox, so we'll need to remember that for much later in the game. Okay, so I'm going here. Oh, another dead end, of course. Sorry, Cynthia. I should be able to go through here where we couldn't go before, I think. Yep, because the old grandma ghost is spawned, so we're going to go through here. I guess as well, this is particularly novel. So while I'm wandering around here, we'll just quickly chat about the map, because Henry, unlike the other protagonist, doesn't need to find a map because there is no map of these weird areas that exists. So Henry will just draw a map automatically as you go along, which is really helpful, because there have been a few areas in previous Silent Hill games, where I've missed the map, and I've had to draw my own map on paper, which is cool. But I spent like an hour running around places because I couldn't see the labels, and you'll see. So I just need Cynthia to run past these ghouls here. That's nothing important. I just, we're down the other end of the platform. We can walk. It's fine. So we're going to go through here. And so, rather ominously, Cynthia has just decided to disappear on us. So how much health do I have? I haven't lost enough to bother going back. So the room heals your health when you go back, which renders healing items for a very long period of the game basically worthless. I think they tried to counterbalance that with the fact that there's basically only melee combat in this game. But in my opinion, it didn't really work, simply because a lot of the enemies can just be avoided. Yeah, good dog here. Yeah, that's definitely a good point with the maps. I think it doesn't help that a lot of the time, like, the camera angles are great, obviously, for instilling this sort of sense of dread, but they do a terrible job actually getting you to identify stuff in the area. It's really hard to identify landmarks when you're looking at the world from this weird perspective. So yeah, you're totally right. I think this is my least favorite area of the subway world, as we'll soon discover. Does he draw a map for this one? Yes, very helpfully he does. A map of the escalator. So these enemies are probably the most loathsome enemies. So they have an incredibly huge hitbox, and they're going to try and smack you and send you flying. And running past them doesn't really work. They're too quick for that. You'll see, and he just knocks them completely flat. So try and run. Oh. And he's a little bit over dramatic. Because he triple somersaults through the air. Oh, that one pushed me up. That's what I like to see. So I have a health drink here. So this is about the one area in the game that contradicts just my earlier statement of health items are useless. Okay, now that wasn't fair. You all saw that. So we're gonna drink our. Oh, come on. All right. That's just what I like to see. Just wrong one, Henry. Wrong one. And you notice that the section is meant to be creepy, right? Because it's this incredibly long escalator that should not exist, but it's filled with these incredibly annoying enemies who do that to you just time and time again. So I think I actually stopped playing this game for a little while, simply because of this section. Because I died. I think I died 2 or 3 times on it, and apparently that was enough to dissuade me from going any further. But when I finally did get past it, I'm just really glad I did get past it in the end. There's a ghost in here, because of course there is. I'm just going to pick up these bullets because I wasted all of those ones before that I really didn't need to. I'm just going to avoid our 2 ghosty friends. Oh, cool. All right, we're going up here now. So we're gonna finish Subway World with this cutscene here. So notice there's a lot of things on the ground. Once makeup items are scattered on the ground, these must be Cynthia's. Okay, I'm gonna go in here. It's not looking good already. So I'm gonna take this. So this will come in handy later. I'll just let this play.
Are you okay?
It's just a dream, right? I think I drank too much last night. I never got to do that special favor for you. I feel like I'm dying.
Okay, so that finishes Subway World in a fairly dramatic fashion. So I'm gonna wake up once again, back in the apartment. So you'll notice Akira Yamaoka's music is really one of the best things about the Silent Hill series, and that's considered by many to be sort of one of his defining songs for the series, anyway.
Man, what's that noise out there?
And that's just what you want to hear after you have a dream like that. So the game sort of lets you stew in that noise for a little while. All right. You notice that healing my health here.
Hurry up and get that ambulance. Quit yapping and move her already. Damn. She's got numbers carved into her chest. I wonder if...
So there's an ambulance and police car at the subway entrance here, and he's asking whether it's Cynthia or not. And I think we can probably infer that it is, unfortunately for Cynthia. Just one little thing I wanted to point out is they added in. I mean, they're terrifyingly low poly models, but there's this really, you can sort of peek in and see sort of bits of home life. Basically, you can see this creepy kid, and I think his mother staring at you. You can see this guy must have just got home. And that Ty, actually, he's gonna come up later in the game. That guy, which is just a cool little thing. All right, so we have a new note under our door. Someone is slipping us these notes. Although the cold itself is gone, I'm sure the spirit of it is still alive. There are too many strange things happening in that town. I'm investigating 2 people, or maybe I should say just one. I've just about discovered what's going on. April 8th. So that didn't really tell us anything, but it is setting the stage for stuff to come. So I'm going to save again here. Okay, we've returned from Subway World. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to start putting some of this stuff in the chest. So we're not going to need this anymore, and we're not going to need this right now. And I think we should have enough space for everything else. We're just going to go into the fridge because I'm feeling a bit peckish. And we're going to have a look. So there's some chocolate milk. So we're going to take that. That's very important. And we're also going to take this white wine bottle. Now, it's something I didn't know in my first playthrough of this, is that the wine bottle is actually a weapon that's more effective the longer you use it, because it breaks, of course. But it's just a really cool little detail. I'll see if I can get it broken and see if we can notice a difference. So we're going to go into the next stage here, which is a bit nicer than the Subway World. Okay. So we're out in the open air again, which actually I'm not sure is good for Henry, because I think in some supplementary material, I think he's stated to be a pretty introverted agoraphobe. I think he likes to stay inside a lot. It's too dark to see in there. Okay, and you'll notice as well there's some weird writing, but it's completely illegible. Weird writing here as well. So we're just going to leave that for now. Okay. Now this area you can already see is a lot different from Subway World, in that every sort of zone, so you notice already we're getting a map. Every zone is a lot more wide open than the subway area, so there's a lot more room to maneuver and just generally sort of avoid enemies, which is much better if you're not great at the combat. So these enemies here, this will be a chance to I don't think I've really killed anything other than those guys. So I'm going to find these really annoying bugs and just clear them out. So they have a very small hitbox and they move very fast, but they do very little damage, fortunately. I can just go over to them and you should be able to kill all 3 in one stomp. Yep. Sweet. I'm going to pick up some more bullets here. And yeah, you'll notice that for whatever reason, he just refuses. He refuses to stack his bullets, which gets pretty frustrating after a while. So we're just going to reload a little bit. Not that we should need the bullets. Hopefully, I'm hoping to save them for later in this playthrough. Okay, there was one more bug there, but he's fine. Okay, there's some more here. Cool. So those enemies are much nicer to start the game out with than the dogs. The dogs are really annoying. They're really fast. They're really hard to hit, and they do a surprising amount of damage. And they often come in packs. So they're not a great enemy to pit the player against first. If you've never played this kind of game before, these bug enemies are much gentler. So got some more writing on that stump there. So we got a car. So I'm gonna go around, and I think I don't know. It only just struck me now that it's very Silent Hill 2. James leaves his car parked like this at the start of the game, with the door open, parked sideways. He doesn't really care. So it's been a while. So whoever wrote this note says it's been a while since I came here to Silent Hill. Maybe I'll meet the devil this time. But whenever I come to a cool place like Silent Hill, I always get real thirsty. Jasper. There's a memo pad in here too. I'm not sure what that nosy guy meant when he said his home is the orphanage in the middle. The lake is northwest, so the opposite is southeast. The nosy guy said one other thing I don't understand. If you bring the dug up key, you can't go back. Put it away somewhere before you return there. Okay, so that's actually a really it's a hint for a puzzle that comes, I guess, relatively later on, still later in this level. But it's a hint you probably won't remember if you're playing this game through blind. So it can be a little frustrating, but the puzzle itself isn't too tricky to solve. So here's Jasper. This is Jasper. Okay, so oh yeah, we'll hang around. We'll let him finish. Because this is important information story wise. Cool. Thanks, Jasper. Oh yeah, I'm terrified of that stone. So Jasper is a bit of a cult nut. He loves the occult. So he's going to come up. He's going to come up again a little bit. This area is charmingly filled with dogs. But again, the really cool thing about the dogs is if you just stay calm, give them a wide berth, they're not going to bother you. But here's a little jump scare for you. And they've got me good. The first time I was playing it, I wasn't looking where I was going, and then it just came straight down. I don't think it can ever hit you, but it's just sort of a jolt. So make sure you're aware of where you're going. So there's more dogs. I'm just going to avoid them because I don't like fighting them. Oh, there's a bad camera angle. Cool. So we're at the Silent Hill Smile Support Society Wish House. This is the orphanage run by the cult, which can, of course, only be a good thing. Cults and orphanages famously go very, very well together. So here we are. Now from this zone, you'll see the little. It might be hard to see, but there's sort of these little black marks. So these are the doors. So there's 3 exits from this area, and of course the little thing here is the hole. So we're just gonna do some exploring. Try and get some items. Of course. I'm just gonna try and dodge. Oh, I ran, so I aggravated the dogs. So we're gonna run. So you notice, yeah, that There's some creepy stuff going on. For some reason, this tree is bandaged, which is sort of reminiscent of um, in Silent Hill 3 at the very towards the end. There's an encounter on not a roller coaster, a merry-go-round, and the horses there are sort of strangely alive, and it's just sort of playing with inanimate objects that come to life that is actually really quite creepy. Um, just sort of playing with your sense of reality here. I'm gonna pick up the club. The club is one of the sets. So all the golf clubs you can pick up in this game are breakable, which makes them functionally useless. They do a huge amount of damage, but they don't really take that long in comparison to break. And when they break, I'm pretty sure they stay in your inventory, um, which sort of makes them kind of a dead weight, really. So I'm just going to put some of this stuff back, and then I'm going to go. So we're going to put these bullets. I'm going to put these bullets away, and I'm going to go back and I'll see if I can fight someone with a wine bottle in a sec. Oh, there's someone at the door. Someone at the door. So we're going to go check that out. So there's Eileen again, and you can see Henry's not totally passive. And there's the guy with the tie that we saw across the way. So apparently he couldn't see us snooping on him. Apparently. Cool. So.
They can't hear me.
Away they go. I really like when he pounds his fist, just the tiny little imperceptible camera movement. And you might notice if you've been watching from the start of the stream, that there is a new handprint on the wall. Looks a bit fresher than the others. Okay, so now we're going to go back. All right, back in we go. So Henry is a really weird protagonist. Of course, I don't want to spoil anything for people who haven't played this game before or watched it. But he's incredibly passive. There are very few moments where he will actually say or do something from a character perspective that's proactive. I mean, of course, he's doing something proactive now, but I'm the one controlling him. And it's sort of the opposite. Well, not the opposite, but James in Silent Hill 2 does a lot of things in cutscenes that you don't really want him to do. He does a lot of stupid things. Excuse me. And whereas Henry, that sort of pounding on the door, and I think there's another couple of moments that come up a bit later in the game where he does sort of have a genuine reaction. But a lot of the time he's very muted. He doesn't really say or do anything of any real interest, and there are arguments to be made for why that is. Personally, I don't think he's a very entertaining protagonist, but I can see why there are in-game reasons for why he is the way he is. So it does kind of make sense. I just would have preferred a more interesting protagonist, but that's okay. So I don't think there's any dogs in this area. We can do a little jog. So yeah, okay. This is, I think, one of the most annoying ghosts. He's got a weapon. This one. So we're gonna. The good thing about the wine bottle is that it's very quick. So we're just gonna. This will be a good opportunity as well to hopefully show you. Hopefully show you what it's like when a ghost goes down. So good, it's broken, and then instead of the little, now we gain this more powerful thrusting attack, and the ghost is going to go down. So we're just going to, and then immediately. So basically, each ghost has 2 health bars, and you have to take down both health bars before they stay down for any real extended period of time. I think some ghosts might even have 3. I don't really spend time fighting the ghost to find out. I normally just run past them, but we'll try and knock them down again. Again, you'll notice the repetitive sound effects that you can't really find in any of the other titles, which is a bit disappointing. So hopefully that did it this time. No, that didn't. I think we'll just leave him. He seems a little bit too keen to meet the end of our wine bottle here. So here we are. This bit in the game. This really looks like a cutscene, right? But this is not a cutscene. You have to take 2 steps forward, 1 step forward to trigger the cutscene. When I first played it, I stood there for like a minute. It's embarrassing. There's Jasper again.
Finally, the third revelation. Something's gonna happen. That nosy guy that was here, he said it too. Something big's gonna happen. Finally, it's gonna happen!
So he's feeling good, obviously. He's in the right state of mind. And Henry makes no moves to sort of question the little kid further, just lets him go. Which, I mean, fair enough, he's probably a bit stunned. I'm just going to... I think there's too much of interest in the graveyard, but you will notice that there's a grave that someone's dug up. I think if we get... Yeah. So we got some weird markings at the bottom of that coffin, so that's strange. And again, so there's so much of this stuff, just weird writing that Henry cannot decipher. So we're going to go back this way now. And hopefully now that we've triggered that cutscene, Jasper should meet us at the front of the orphanage building. And we're gonna see one of the weirder puzzles in this game resolved. So yeah, if you didn't know that you could open your fridge, this puzzle, I don't know, it'd be hard. So it's locked. Does he want to say anything to me? Yes, it's clear.
That nosy guy gave me something really good. I could let you have it, but not for free. I'm really thirsty. I'm so thirsty. Oh, chocolate.
He's So he puts more emotion into that than Henry puts in, I think, to basically anything beyond his pounding at the door, wanting to be let out. Henry, in response to all the other horrors, does not have as much pathos as this guy does for chocolate milk. So we're going to give him the chocolate milk.
Oh man, that was awesome. Here, take this.
He doesn't even pass it to you. He just
Written on it.
chucks it on the floor. You can pick it up. What do I care? I got my chocolate milk. Cool. So we're gonna pick this up. He's a bit ungrateful. I pulled my gun out by accident, but just threatening him. So opposite where the lake and the house meet, inside the hand holding onto the ground. So we're gonna go back this way. I think. Okay, we're gonna go back up here. Alright, we're back in this area with the dogs. I'm gonna again try and circumvent them. You notice that there's a different colour dog there, which is more dangerous than the green ones, which I think are the males. Alright. Should be able to just calmly run up through here. Awesome. Okay. So here we are here. You'll see we're looking for these hands here. So these tree roots look kind of like hands. So we're gonna have a look at that. some digging. Okay. So we got the rusted bloody key. The holder of this key will wander for eternity, and you sort of think, oh, who cares? So we're gonna run down here, and this is one of the cool little subversions in the game of reality, as if the whole game wasn't already enough of a subversion. So you're gonna step in here. Okay. All right. Well, just keep going. We must be only 1 or 2 zones away from the. And then already you can see, right, that we're just entering the same zone over and over again. And there's been a few people, I think, who just sort of who do that probably more times than the developers anticipated. But it's a good little puzzle. So you just go back. It's quite clever. You go back. This is the first example of using the room itself to solve puzzles. So you have to. It's basically like what's that the old puzzle with the fox and the grain and the chicken. So you have to take them across in the right order. So we're just going to put the key in our box. Cool. And I think we can put the wine bottle away now. I don't think anyone's interested in that anymore. Okay. So what we're going to do, pop in here. Okay. Got our pipe again. I'm just going to run. And the game makes that noise every time I think you pass through that little area. But it is still a weird and unexplained noise. Which really did freak me out. It really did get me as well the first time. Yeah, I got to say that the subway area really didn't frighten me. I thought it was a really bad way to start off the game, but the forest area does a much better job of sort of setting the expectations for what the game is actually like. All of this sort of the backtracking to the room that you have to do, the amount of enemies that you have to fight. Okay, once more back into the room. I wake up, and I guess after playing this for too long, you sort of start to get sick of the constant backtracking to the room. But for a first time player, when I was a first time player, I really enjoyed the experience of figuring out these puzzles in the room. So we're gonna grab our key back. Okay. And yeah, you'll notice I've actually made. I hope I've made a good amount of progress. I've been playing for an hour, and we're about to finish the second area as well, which is good because the area after this one is my favorite area. I discussed it recently on a post on the blog, I think, when I discussed the game's visuals. So we're going to go in here, and you'd sort of think previous Silent Hill games, when you enter an interior, most of the time, it's generally setting up this sort of expansive indoors section, but you don't really get that. There's no monsters in here or anything. It's just some information. So the second sign, and God said, offer the blood of the 10 sinners and the white oil. Be then released from the bonds of the flesh and gain the power of heaven. From the darkness and void bring forth gloom, and gird thyself with despair for the giver of wisdom. The third sign, and God said, return to the source through sin's temptation. Under the watchful eye of the demon, wander alone in the formless chaos. Only then will the 4 atonements be in alignment. Okay, so Jasper's gone in there, so I'll just double check. Just ignore the smoke. Ignore the smoke. Just gonna check up here and just make sure. Yeah, right. That is locked. Cool. I just wanted to check that. So we're gonna go in here now. And the scene is pretty nasty actually. So we're going to go in here. So we're going to take another. You should probably start to notice the theme here. So we're going to take another placard off the door here, and then we're going to go in.
I finally met him! The one the nosy guy talked about! The devil!
He did. I don't mean to take the pathos out of the moment, but he did do a lot of talking for a guy who was completely on fire.
The police have ruled it a homicide and are investigating. The numbers 17121 were reportedly carved into the man's body. Due to the marks on the victim, the police are investigating possible links to the Walter Sullivan case 10 years ago.
Okay. So one thing I don't think I really mentioned before. Okay, well, we'll let these guys, because this is going to get annoying otherwise. I'll talk about what I was going to talk about in a sec. So this is the superintendent. So, oh well, sorry to take his big introduction away.
Help me! There's something wrong with this room!
Once again, he's going to try it.
Help! Let me out of here!
Is anybody home?
What's going on here?
He's going to very slowly find the key once. He's going to very slowly put it in the door. So there's more spooky stuff going on.
It's the same one as back then.
So this same one as back then, implying that this has happened before. And you might not have seen it. It was very quick, sorry. But there was another handprint on the wall. So I'm going to save again. So we just returned from Forest World. So that's Forest World finished. All right. So we can put this placard away as well. We don't really need the placard on us right now. So we'll just pop that away. And I think if we just keep those things, that'll be fine. Okay. So we're gonna once again make Henry go into the hole, and you'll notice that the hole is getting a bit larger, and there's new noises coming out of it, which apparently sound like children's voices. So we're gonna go in. All right. So this is my favorite of the Silent Hill 4 areas. So there are a bunch of different. You'll notice that there's a bunch of different areas that we can travel through to, and this is easily my favorite. It has this impeccable atmosphere, and it's the first introduction of probably the best enemies in this game. But you'll find out soon enough if you haven't played it for yourself. It's a really, really special moment, horror-wise in here. It is probably the best, some of the best horror that this game has to offer. The best stuff that comes in the second half of the game. But this is certainly the scariest place in the first half of the game. Okay, so there's someone else in here with us, but we're going to ignore him. We're going to loot these cells. Some of these cells do have some good stuff in them. So what we're going to want to do, if we just hang on a sec, just have to stand up and stretch for a second. I will be right back. Okay, we're back. Okay, hopefully that didn't crash anything. Sorry about that. All right. So we're gonna go in here. I'm sick of being watched. So this kind of prison is called a panopticon, and it is all about surveillance. So you'll notice that we have just this entirely circular building, and each room has a single light source. This porthole up here, and I don't know if it'll happen in this room, but sometimes if you wait long enough, the shadow will pass over the room, sort of implying that there's something. So this is the guy. So try to change the camera angle. He's just gonna stroke my hair for a second. We're gonna go out here. So I'll read this note just to get some context. So to get to the surveillance rooms in the middle of this complex, you have to use the corpse disposal chutes in the cells. However, on the first and second floors, these cells are locked. That's so the kids wouldn't discover them. So you have to get to the first floor from one of the cells on the third floor. I know how to do it, but it's really a pain. Also, the lights only work on the third floor. So that's just some stuff about the operation of the prison. And then we're going to go down here. So this area, I'll just walk forward just far enough. This area is filled with my least favorite enemies in the game. So we're going to avoid them. Because what you could do is run all the way around, but instead you just go down the ladder. Just go down the ladder. So we'll keep going down. And down here, this is a very important item, so get that. So that's anti-ghost warfare, basically. So you can put it on, and it will stop the ghosts from doing their sort of ambient damage to you. The area of effect damage, you do just take damage if you're around a ghost for too long, which is part of what makes them such a frustrating enemy. When you've already seen that they can't really be killed, and they do this area effect damage and add all these visual and audio effects to the game, which of course starts off creepy, but in the later levels, you're really going to grow to resent these ghosts. So we're going to go back up here again, and completely ignore. So you might be able to see just down the bottom left corner of the screen there. There's some bunch of bugs waiting for you, but I'm not really interested in fighting. So I think there's like 15 bugs in this room, but I'm really not interested in fighting them. So we're going to run back around to the correct ladder. Sorry, not the staircase. I'm going to start exploring the prison proper. Cool. Alrighty. So, if we could take this really long way around, but there's a lot of bugs. So instead, we're just going to take these ladders. And you might sort of think, like, what the heck is the point of of the staircase? Because there's nothing on the staircase, by the way. There's no items, at least not to my recollection. There's just bugs. So the only thing you're going to get out there is atmosphere, and you're going to have to fight a lot of bugs. So you might be wondering why exactly the developers even thought, the stairs are important if all you can do is ladders. But don't worry, that's going to come up. That's going to come up a bit later in the game. Of course, there's a handle. This is the first of many handles we have to turn in this world. Cool. Just going to go back along here. We're going to go down floor by floor, basically. I think we'll do this floor. We'll search this floor. I just want to make sure we got all the items. So there's these really weird, I guess you say leeches. You can step on them and they do that, but there's nothing. They don't actually harm you unless they drop down from the roof on top of you. I don't think they can harm you when they're on the floor or on the walls. I'm just going to walk around here, and then this fellow, he stopped me. He stopped me dead in my tracks the first time I played this game. He just stands there. He just stares at you. I'm just gonna be very careful. And you think he moves slow, but no, he's incredibly fast. He's got this huge swing, and Henry is insisting on targeting that leech. And you can hear him say something. It's really unclear, at least at this point in the game, what exactly he's saying, but it does have plot relevance. So these are probably the toughest regular enemies in the game. The quickest, the quickest and most dangerous as a combo. These enemies are just annoying. Basically, they're not really worth the time to fight. Okay, and you notice in here there is the traditional. It's a hole. Would you like to jump in? That you'll be familiar with if you've played any Silent Hill title before. So we'll come back to that room in a second. But I really, he almost got me. What I really want to do is, classic. That's what we love to see. So this room, fortunately, this guy can be completely ignored because we can just beat him up from an angle. His friend in the corner is really annoyed. So we'll just, take those bullets. I want to hide, but I can't hide. No. The sound effects they make are annoying. Just everything about this enemies is annoying. I think they're called wall men. Now there's another guy here. He's gonna rush at me. He's gonna hit me with that somehow. So I think in the very early version of the game, at least in the pre-game like the main menu trailer for the game, these enemies have this really creepy. Oh, that's not good. These enemies have this really creepy noise accompanying them in there, but they don't really make any noise in actual gameplay. So I think actually I'm going to have to be a coward and I'm going to have to run. So he's going to do a face plant, which is good for me because that slows him down a lot. Excuse me. So shamefully, I'm going to have to go back and just heal a wee bit in the room. My pro gamer skills are being put to shame here. So we're gonna go back in here. And we'll just, I think it should just take about 30 seconds to heal you back to full. Wake up. And you can just see the health ticking up there in the corner. What I talked about before the superintendent cut me short, is the radio. So in previous Silent Hill games, the radio was a sort of fixture, which allowed you to detect where the enemies were coming around the corner. So it blurred out static when enemies were coming. But in this game, you don't have that. You don't have that, and you don't have the flashlight either. So the radio is instead replaced by this stereo system in your room, which you can sort of randomly flick on and tune into. But I think you can only flick it on once and hear the sound once during each visit. Okay, so another clue here. Lately, I've been feeling like my life is in serious danger. I've been through a lot in my life, but I've never felt this kind of pure animal fear. In case something happens to me, I've decided to write down what I've learned for whoever you are that's living in the apartment now. I've been investigating the mass murder that took place 7 years ago, in which 10 people were killed in 10 days. They were killed in a variety of ways, but the one thing they had in common was that each corpse had the following numbers in order of their deaths carved into them: 01121, 02121, 03121, 04121, blah blah blah. The name of their killer, it was carved in as well. His name was Walter Sullivan. So that's going to be really important. I think we had one mention of that name earlier, but now we know for a fact that it's this Walter Sullivan guy who's up to no good. Just at the last bit of our health tick. And I think I'll put the ghost medallion back in my box because I don't need it right now. That's going to come in handy again later in the game, where we're going to, as I said before, you're going to encounter a lot more ghosts, and they're going to be a bit more dangerous than they are now. Even more dangerous than they are now, I should say. Let me go back in here again. I think for this world, no. I think it's only the cutscene on the way back that might be different. Just changes the texture of the tunnel, basically, but it's still a cool little feature. Okay. I'm going to try the second floor now, see if there's anything interesting or good that we can pick up from there. And hopefully this time I don't suck. Okay, so we're going to readjust the camera. A lot of leeches. Okay, nothing in here. Readjust the camera. So the funny thing about the camera in the Silent Hill games is that sometimes you can manipulate it. So I can just hit tab here and the camera will flip, which makes traversing this area a lot easier. A bit less scary, of course, but a lot easier. So now you can actually see where you're going, and you're not going to run into any walls or into any enemies. But there are quite a few times in the game where you can't do something like that. Of course, this is to sort of deliberately make you feel like you're not in control. But sometimes the camera angles, as we have seen already, especially in that time in the forest world where the camera just sticks to the tree line, that can be really frustrating. Now we got these monsters here who are guarding this door. This door is actually locked, pretty sure. Yeah, the lock is broken. You can't open that door. We're just going to clear these guys out anyway. At least enough so that we can just walk back around. And I think, yeah. So we've checked all the second floor. we're going to go back up to the 3rd floor and we're going to try confront this monster. He's right here waiting for me. I'll try to flip the camera again. So the pipe kind of sucks, but we can charge up and do this big attack, but it's way too slow. So he's gonna come on. I'll see if I can get him with the big attack. I can, yeah. So that does a lot of damage, but it's really hard to hit. So there's one enemy. Sorry, not one enemy. One weapon in the game that's basically better than all the others. So when I get up to that weapon, there's a chance that that's probably all I'm going to use, simply because it basically makes all the other weapons you can find invalid, because its strengths far outweigh any of the other weapons' strengths. Okay, I'm going to see what happens when we do this. Okay. And there's another hole. I'm going to jump into this one as well. And there's one more below that, and we're going to jump into that as well. Okay, here we are. In this terrible, terrible room, which gave me a heart attack the first time I played it, because there's actually 2 of those enemies in there, and they come out of absolutely nowhere. So we're just going to leave them, because we don't actually have to go back in there. I don't think there's anything particularly useful in there. I think there might be a few bullets, but I shouldn't need them. So basically this note is going to provide some context. So whoever was in here is just this horrible, horrible person. And they've got all these children locked up in this prison. And they're disposing of the bodies without the children knowing. And there's an interrogation room behind the kitchen. There are 3, and this is the most important part. So there are 3 rooms with bloody beds. One is on the 1st floor, one is on the 2nd floor, and one is on the 3rd floor. If you line those 3 rooms up, then it's bingo. So we need to find the rooms with the bloody beds. But probably the reason I probably could have chosen to play on hard, or maybe not. But hard was definitely an option. But the reason I didn't play on hard was because that hint is for a puzzle, obviously. But on hard, the puzzle clue just turns into "I'm sleepy." So that's meant to be. I think that's meant to be a hint to look at the beds. So there's our friend there who's trying to get it out. But that's such an obtuse hint. If I'd played on hard the first time I played this game, I really don't think I would have been able to finish it without a guide. Whereas this easy and normal puzzles. So there's our bloody bed. So that's top right. So top right, that one there. Okay. Because the interesting thing, so Silent Hill 2 and 3 had separate action difficulties and riddle difficulties, and I thought that was a really good idea, because it allows. Hang on, was that the bloody bed? It allows the player to sort of pick. Oh, they might be really good at playing the actual game, but they might be really bad at solving riddles, and that lets the player sort of customize their experience in a way that feels really nice for them. Whereas this game, for some reason, just did not do that. And this is one of the only puzzles, I think, that changes depending on what difficulty you choose. But it is really not a good puzzle on hard difficulty. There might be some other hint somewhere that I missed on hard difficulty, but it just does not seem good. So I think we want that one there, I think. So I'm going to turn that 2 more times. Yeah, it's a fairly uninspiring puzzle in the end. Which hole was that there? Oops, I'm looking at the wrong one. Is that right? So the one next to it. time. So I think, yeah, Silent Hill really has this obtuseness to it that makes it really beautiful. But sometimes that obtuseness, as with a lot of horror games, a lot of puzzle games, reaches sort of insane levels. I think the most infamous example in the series was at the very start of Silent Hill 3. Again, if you pick hard riddle difficulty, you're going to be confronted with basically this really complex riddle to do with the complete works of Shakespeare. And if you have not had, and this game released in 2003, so if you've not had any experience with Shakespeare, then you're probably going to have to book it down to the library and just try and decipher what the heck is going on. So I'm going to check. I think it's this one. Is it this one? No, it's not that one. No, it must be the other one. It's completely the opposite. No, okay then. So I have to check them all now. There we go. Okay. And where's that? So 2 to the right should do it. There we go. So that's unlocked him from his. Just gonna double check. Did I put that in the right spot? No, it really is 2 to the right. I'm not actually sure what triggers that cutscene of him escaping the cell. But it is slightly. It sort of makes you feel like you solved the puzzle, but that wasn't actually the bit you needed to solve. I've been turning it the wrong way. Or am I just looking in the wrong spot? I'm looking in the wrong spot, aren't I? Okay, but it's in the right spot anyway, so that's good. Yeah, so that didn't actually solve the puzzle before when the cutscene triggered, which is slightly strange. I should be able to finish this world, and then perhaps finish up the stream. So we're gonna do another cryptic cutscene.
Who is that boy? And who are you? His name's Walter. Walter Sullivan. I used to work at the orphanage watching the kids. I'm Andrew DeSalvo. They tried to make it seem like an orphanage, but according to that town's holy scriptures, it was actually the center of their religion. That kid Walter, he was really into that mumbo jumbo. Especially that descent of the Holy Mother business. It was scary. Oh, God. Oh. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
So the kid is Walter Sullivan, and he is a complete. Not the kid. I'm not talking about the kid right now. I'm talking about the guy. The guy is a complete nut job. He's also. It's also revealed. I can't remember if it's revealed in the game itself or again in supplementary material, but it is revealed that he is a huge scumbag. So we don't have to worry about what happens to him. Okay. On the 3rd floor. Okay, so we're gonna walk past the 2 friends here and find this one here. I'm going to jump down these holes again to get where we need to go. Okay. And here we are. Plate on the door. Watchfulness. And here we have that. And I've forgotten the key code, so we'll have to open my scrapbook. The secret number memo 0302, which, coincidentally enough, is the number of your apartment. I'm going to go into this, so you can infer that a lot of really, really horrible stuff happened in here. Obviously, but the guy who we just met basically was one of the main perpetrators of all of this really horrible stuff that we've sort of seen in this area. So the fact that he ends up like that is no great loss. So you see he's got 18121 written on his belly there. Okay. Should be able to at least get up to this next part of the next world, but I think beyond that, I'll wrap it up. Okay, so here we are once again back in the room. So now we're going to enter. Yeah, we're going to enter a world that's, I guess it's okay. It does introduce a new enemy type. So I found something that's extremely effective against the ghosts. It saved my life. Stuck into the huge rock in the woods near the orphanage. It's a sword blade with a handmade, triangle-shaped wooden handle that has some kind of spell written on it. As a weapon, it's heavy and hard to carry, but somehow it seemed to change in response to the ghost victim's power. Strike when the sword is energized. If you don't reduce their power, your attacks will be repelled. As far as I know, there are only 5 swords in existence with that kind of power. It's extremely valuable. So that's talking about an item that we're going to get very shortly. I can put the placard away. Cool. Okay. Just save it one more time. I'm going to the next world. So the hole has once again become even bigger. Once again, we're going to dive right in. I really like the feel. The feel and the mood of this world is really, really cool. But the actual structure of it, yeah, not so much. It's another sort of apartment world problem. Not apartment. Subway world problem. Apartment world is after this one, but this is building world. Building world's okay, but it's very vertical. And the problem with vertical levels in a game like Silent Hill is that you're using a map like this, and you're supposed to flick sort of up and down, between the levels, and it becomes really, really disorientating. You might see up the top there. You might have noticed we have some monkeys or something jumping. So we've got it's this really literally urban jungle feel with the kind of enemies we're going to come up against. All the animal enemies we've encountered thus far. I'm going to show up. So we got dogs, we got bugs, and we got this new one. So these really weird monkey things, which I think the game, or the supplementary material elects to call gum heads. This one is not doing a very good job, so we're just going to finish him off. You can sort of, you can probably already tell. I hope you can tell. The noise in this level is a bit more aggressive than it was in the water prison. Sort of this feeling of being surrounded. And then we're going to see the weirdest cutscene. Whee! And apparently that only warrants an ouch. So it's this guy again. So Richard.
Hey, you're the guy that lives across from me.
Yeah, my name's Henry.
I'm Richard Braintree, from 207. What the hell's happened to us? That hole and this freaky world. But if you're here too, then there must be something wrong with the whole apartment building. That must explain what happened to that other guy too.
So here we are again. Another incident.
What other guy?
The guy who lived in 302 before you. A journalist. He disappeared one day. He got pretty crazy towards the end. Shut himself up in his room and wouldn't come out.
Sounds familiar. He does. Apparently, Henry doesn't have anything to say about that.
Get the hell out of here.
Not like, oh yeah, I've been.
You too, if you know what's good for you.
I was locked in my room. Wait.
Watch out for that kid.
So it's a very strange thing for him to say. So now we got two of these enemies. We're just gonna try and take them both down. Because that one over there just seems really interested in blocking the door. So hopefully, if I can just take them on one at a time. So we got that one. Sweet. So we might recognize this. We're on top of the hotel. Apparently Henry can't read backwards, so he doesn't know where we are. But yes, we're on top of the hotel that we can see from across the street. So we're going to try and just get this guy out of the way. So he's your usual Silent Hill kind of monster. By this point, or at least for this game, they sort of, a lot of the monsters, other than those, the two-headed creatures, they're sort of, the designs in this game feel a wee bit uninspired sometimes. I really like the dogs as well, though. So we're going to take the key, but you notice he's also got this the triangle sword that we just read about before. So we're going to take that because it's really, really helpful. But that's going to get him up, so we're just going to quickly leave. So the ghost sword pins a ghost, and the really, really cool thing about that is if the ghost is coded to appear in a later level, but you pinned him in an earlier level, he will not appear there. So basically, you can stop if you know what are the best ghosts to stop spawning. You can stop them spawning in later areas if you're really concerned about them. So there are a couple of ghosts that's really good to do that too, but others that you only see them once or twice, so it's not really worth it. Okay, some more ammo. Once again, cannot stack bullets. Okay, and then we're going to pick up. So this bat is going to be useful for about 5 minutes. It's quickly surpassed by the efficiency of another weapon I'm going to pick up shortly. Not the 5 iron, because as I've said before, I don't really like the golf clubs. They break really easily. So I'm going to try and... Actually, I think I might have gone the wrong way. Hang on. Oh, no, I was going the wrong way. So just go down to the bottom here. So you see what I mean about the verticality of this level. Like this, every section of the map. So this is B7, this is B6, this is B5, B4. You know, it's just you have no idea where anything is in relation to anything else, really. So the map in this level is functionally, for me anyway, useless. So we're gonna. Oh, there's a lot of dogs in here. Gonna grab this from underneath the cat food for an army of cats. We're just going to check and see if there's anything else in here. No, there's the way down. There's the way down there, but we're not going to need that right now. Okay, this is bad. So I'm just going to try and leave the pet store because the pets have taken it over and they don't really seem interested in being adopted. And again, yeah, you can hear the sound effects, I hope, and it's just the same. It's exactly the same sound being played over and over again. Just changes depending on what kind of surface you're standing on. And if they just had, if they'd even had like 3 or 4 other sounds that they could have added on top of that, it just would have made the game feel a lot more polished. But as it stands, yeah. So I'm really hoping we can just avoid most of these enemies. So we're gonna have to fight this one. But that enemy, you can see an enemy coming up behind me. I might not be able to avoid as many of them as I'd like. So we can knock both of them down at least. We can kill that one, and then we can just run. And there's a cool little bit about this area. Okay, and then surprise, they're going to drop down. That gets a lot of first-time players, including me. It's just enemies sort of taking advantage of the verticality of the level is really cool. But then we're going to go in here and get another cutscene.
Are you the kid he was talking about? You live in that apartment too, huh? Say, you look a lot like a little punk that I once caught sneaking around there. Do you know something about what's going on? Hey, you! Stop!
So you see, Richard is not very good. He's not a people person, and his one character trait that you really get out of him in this game is that he hates children. As you can see, because he just threatened little Walter there at gunpoint. But who knows? Maybe that was the right thing for him to do. Maybe little Walter has something else up his sleeve. So those enemies barely do any damage. So I'm really hoping again here we can just book it past these enemies. There's no sense in wasting our time on them. Okay, and there's a lot of monkeys in here, gumheads. This one's using a weapon, a golf club, but you should just be able to sneak around him. Okay, I think I might drink the health drink just in case. There should be a door over here. Okay, once again, head down the stairs. So yeah, I hope you see what I mean about the verticality of this level. If you didn't know where you were going, you'd spend way too long looking around the level, trying to figure out exactly where to go and where you are in relation to other areas. So I think these two are locked, but this one should be unlocked. Now we're going to enter into the bar here, and here's the best weapon in the game. It's a rusty axe. The rusty axe has this really short swing, but it does a lot of damage, and it also has the best power attack. So it still takes as long to charge up, but it has this great wind up, and it's got a fairly decent range, as you can see. So he sort of comes forward to do it rather than stands in place, which is great because if there's an enemy attacking you at melee range, you can just step out of it, charge up the attack, and he'll step forward automatically and kill them. So we'll solve this puzzle, and I think we'll finish up for today. So there's a memo here. The boss said that the number this time is the last 4 digits of his store's phone number, but the phone number is written right there on the sign on the roof. Anybody could see it from South Ashfield Street. Is that really okay? So we're looking for another numeric code, but of course we're in the building. So we can't see. But what you can do, of course, since there's a convenient hole in here, we can head back to our apartment. This is one of my favorite puzzles in the game. It made me feel quite clever when I figured it out, even though it's not that hard. So wake up again. All you have to do, come out here, and just take a look out your window, and you have the code. 3750. And there's some stuff going on out there, but we can do that and get to the end of this world, because that would make great progress. And next time we sort of set up for some cool horror analysis, some actual deconstruction of what has been going on so far and what is going to happen. I think I just forgot the number. Did I? Yes, I did. That's not a good look. I was too busy talking. Hopefully we should just be able to look at the bedroom window and see it. It was 3750. What was I doing with the 4? Oh, what did I do wrong there? There we go. All right. So we'll make our way to the top of this area. So that's our good friend Richard. Evidently something not very good has happened to him. So we're going to just run up here. There's a couple of ghosts in this area. And here you should be able to, yeah. That happens to me every time. He has this crazy long hitbox, which is a bit unfair. But you'll see, yeah, again, making the same noises. But fortunately, he's not consistently. He is consistently close enough to me to do a little bit of chip damage there. So he's going to chip away at my health if he gets too close and come up with that, make the screen all red and turn the audio into static. But this really is just a really long and really tedious section. Just sort of feels a bit like padding here, really. The climb, it's not really adding anything to the game. You could make it about half this length, and it would be a lot scarier. But you know, look, yeah, one more. I think one more. Yeah, we're at the top, but that went on for a bit too long. Okay. So door 207, somehow at the top of this, at the staircase. So there's some good surrealism. I'll let this play. So this is another one of the moments in the game that gives Henry some of his character, some of the very little character that we get to see of him. Because you'll see that immediately, without any thought, he runs up and tries to save Richard, but obviously cannot. So he's a nice character, but he's just very, very blank. And I think ultimately that detracts from the game's potential investment, because the more invested you get in the game, the scarier it is.
Like another one, Captain. Got 121 on his head. It's just like that case from 10 years ago. Yeah, that Walter Sullivan case. But Sullivan's dead. They even got the body. Must be some crazy copycat. Yeah, but even so...
Okay. So that's the end of Building World as well. I got through that a lot faster than I thought I was going to. So that's really good. So next time we're going to enter Apartment World, which is a slightly... Probably the... Is it the most difficult to navigate? I don't know if I'd say the most difficult. I think Subway World frustrates me a bit more, but it's probably the one with the most obtuse objective. It's not really that easy to see. And here we are. There's a man in Richard's room, pointing at your neighbor's room. So yeah, that's not a good sign. So to finish up, just see if Eileen has anything. What Eileen's up to will just be... She's getting ready. She's getting ready to go out now, so she's about ready for a party. So we could have been checking in on her through the game, especially if you were getting stuck and coming back to your apartment. You'd probably try and look in there for clues, but it's very voyeuristic. It's very creepy, and in fact, that voyeurism comes back to bite Henry in the ass in a little bit. But we'll save it here, I think, and I think we'll quit. So thanks to everyone who was able to watch the stream. That's great. I'm thinking of trying to maybe edit it just a tiny bit, the technical stuff at the start that I had to do real quick. But other than that, I think I'll try and upload the VOD to YouTube, just as sort of an archive at the very least. So it'd be great to keep that there. But yeah, big thanks to everyone who sat and watched the whole thing. I hope to see you again next week.